Before we start today's show, want to remind you that Fantasy Champs is the absolute best place, the place to go for all of your fantasy championship hardware, your trophies, your rings, your championship belts, whatever you need. Go check it out. Tons of customizable options. This is the place to go for all your championship gear. Use that promo code BALLERS, and you're going to save a little bit of quiche.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the Redraft Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
What? I caught a football.
You did.
Nathan Peterman just threw me a football.
Oh.
That's number 6.
Wow. I've always,
wow, thanks, Nate.
I've always thought of you as a highbrow man.
You know, I did bounce back and forth between absolute sadness for the human being and entertainment by what was taking place.
And you decided, no, I will kick him in the groin.
Look,
more of a stomp because he's already on the ground in the fetal position.
That situation has a lot of layers. Okay, there's Nathan Peterman, the man, and I feel bad for Nathan Peterman, the man. But you're responsible for what you do on the field too. Some of those throws were just asinine, and he had been on the field earlier this year and looked okay for in relief. Sure. But the asinine layers in play there. They're a 5-4 team with a quarterback that had only turned the ball over 3 times on the year in Tyrod Taylor.
See, it's on the. I guess this is how we're starting the show, but sure, this is on the coaching staff.
Oh yeah,
you can't a plus 500 team and go, we're going to go with a 5th round rookie. And look, this is completely a magician act, right? This is the magician is waving his hand over here. He's getting your attention over here. Meanwhile, his defense is freaking awful. The Bills' defense, like McDermott, his legacy is built upon defense. And he's just trying to distract everyone from the fact that his defense stinks and there is nothing he can do to fix it. So he has to go, if you look over here at the quarterback situation, just pay attention to that.
A big mirage on the year. They were opportunistic as a defense to start the season. It has vastly changed, which changes our opinions of fantasy players going up against the Buffalo defense. I agree with you. It was a disaster of a game.
But vindication for Tyrod Taylor.
Absolutely.
Whoa. Not necessarily vindication. The decision has not yet been
That's what
made
I was going to ask.
as to whether or not
let's
Tyrod
weigh in.
will start next.
I believe Nathan Peterman will get the start. That is my belief. What do you believe?
I believe, despite this previous decision, that Sean McDermott is a good coach. So I believe Tyrod Taylor will be the starting quarterback.
Mike?
I don't even know what to think.
I don't know what to believe.
I honestly, I don't know what to think. This is a team so they're 5-5 now. That's correct? They could still make the playoffs. What are you doing messing around with a 5th round rookie who maybe Peterman has a long career ahead of him, but he's got to be shell-shocked. You can't come out your first start, you're ready to go, you're amped about this, your dream is coming true, you're an NFL quarterback, and you come out and you do something in the horrendous category that hasn't been done since 1991 with the amount of interceptions he threw in the first half.
Hope mom and dad didn't come to
that's
watch
what I
that
was
big
thinking of
first
too.
game.
Also, hard-hitting analysis, Jason Moore style. I mean, he had 6 completions for 66 yards. You can't play him again.
Mark on the best.
Well, welcome to the Fantasy
I'm glad
Footballers
that could come back 2 weeks in a row.
podcast. Brooks is here, the judge himself. Brooks, who gets the start? Peterman or Tyrod this week?
Tyrod.
Okay. That's the appropriate answer. I wish we had control of that franchise.
I wish that football had kind of hit you in the face.
Yeah.
Because we would not have started the show over.
Ooh.
No, I know.
That would have been a better
But, of course,
start.
I caught it because sticky hands.
Oh, yeah. Great hands. Great hands Holloway. That's what
Great
they call
hands
you.
Holloway.
Hey, great hands. Get over here. Get some balls.
Stud Muffins. Who am I playing football with? That's asking me that question.
Someone from the 40s.
Yeah, Stud Muffins, rising stars on the show, duds on the show, and lots of good questions. Hopefully you had a good weekend. It was a tough one for me. Larry Fitzgerald, he outperformed my expectations with playing Gabbert.
He got that new contract bump.
Eli Manning lost Sterling Shepard just like last minute this week, which really, really hurt his ability to do anything offensively. You had a disappointing week from Alex Smith. We're going to get into all of those on the show today. And a reminder, the Megalodon episode. It's coming. It's Wednesday. Are you ready for this?
Oh man, I gotta get my sleep in tonight and tomorrow.
Get your sleeps in?
I'm 2 sleeps away from the Megalodon.
Yeah, and if you don't know what that is, it is a gargantuan episode that we drop on Wednesday. We are not here on Thanksgiving and the day after, and therefore we give you
a
Thanksgiving meal worth of show on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a giant show. We usually end up doused in sweat.
Oh, yeah.
And gravy.
And gravy.
Great for Thanksgiving.
He sweats gravy.
I do.
He sweats
it's incredible.
Gravy.
If it's the morning,
it's a condition.
It's breakfast gravy. If it's late in the evening, it's just a brown rich gravy. This is just true.
It's just a medical condition.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make fun of it if I were you.
Thank you, Andy.
Quick question of the day. Which Week 11 dud are you most concerned about going forward? So the next couple weeks in the fantasy playoffs, they're here. Which dud from this past week has you most concerned?
I'll start it off here, and the answer is Doug Martin. Look,
no, not which Doug makes you. Oh, Dud and Doug. Same thing.
The answer to both questions is the same because it's Doug Martin. Volume is king in fantasy football. All you want is your players to get an opportunity. Doug Martin getting loads of opportunity. I mean, we all remember that sensational game, his first game back after the suspension, 13 for 74. He had a touchdown. Since that point, if my calculations are correct, he has run 99 times for 269 yards. That's 2.7 yards per carry. You say what you want about the yards per carry stats. You know, some people argue for it, against it. But at 2.7, there is nothing you can possibly argue.
And at 100 carries, you're not talking.
That is horrendous. That is.
Why does he feel the need to be such a man of extremes? Why does he have to lead the league in rushing or be a disaster?
Well, the point is, you know which version of Doug Martin it is now. So I don't see that changing. I agree with you, Mike. In fact, when we sat down, my pick, Brooks, Judge Giamatti himself, was like, he thought it was a little too low hanging. And so when I thought about, okay, let me think of someone else, I immediately went to Doug Martin.
So for Doug Martin, the question is, do you drop Doug Martin? Do you try and set up a landmine situation for your opponents to go, ooh, Doug Martin, I'm going to pick him up and play him? Or do you just bench him and hope that there's something of relevance here if you ever have to start him?
If you have one of the next two guys we're going to mention, you might not have the option to drop him.
I would probably not drop Doug Martin.
You would just bench him?
I would bench him until something changes. He's still getting 20 carries a game.
But how long can the Buccaneers continue to give him 20 carries if these are the results that he is giving the team?
However, there's a lot of players like this right now in this category.
Not getting 20 carries, getting 2.7.
Yeah, it's bad. It's
you
bad,
definitely have to bench him for sure.
Yeah, there you go. So,
all right,
Jason,
I'll
you
go
went
with my low-hanging fruit, but I've got a backup as well. The one that's the most concerning to me, and we kind of said this before the week, was Buck Allen. Buck Allen is a guy that
that's Javorius Allen.
Javorius Buck Allen. Thanks, Judge.
He's all about legal names.
That's a strange correction there.
Yeah,
we know who he is.
Yeah, so Javorius Buck Allen, running back for the, or I should say former running back for the Baltimore Ravens. He inherited a role that they seemingly did not want him to have. He was behind Terrence West. He was behind Danny Woodhead. And as everybody in front of him got injured, he came in and he was pretty good. And so people have had a long stretch, a good solid 2 months of being able to start Javorius Allen and have a pretty decent showing. But Danny Woodhead was activated before the game. That is his role. They brought him in to have it. Then the only reason Buck Allen was utilized in that pass-catching back role was because Danny Woodhead was gone. And now that he's back, unless Danny Woodhead gets injured again, it's bye-bye Buck Allen.
Witness protection for Buck Allen.
We don't. Yeah, I mean, he's gone from Javorius to Buck. Nobody knows who he is. I will also throw out Kenyon Drake just as another name that's scary.
Really?
He's been great, but he only got 7. How
can
you only give 7 carries to a guy who has been somewhat electric the last 2 weeks, being able to break off long runs?
Game
Are
script.
you talking about C.J. Spiller?
Nice. But game script says you got to go to the pass catching back, and for Miami, that's Damian Williams. But Damian Williams was ripping off huge runs. So I don't know that I would panic yet on
just a little
Drake. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'd be worried about 7 carries. You can't rely on a 57-yard run every game.
Right.
I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson. He concerns me quite a bit. I mean, you just don't know what you're getting, and generally you're not getting a middle-of-the-road situation. You're getting 20 carries for 30-something yards. Or
Were you talking about Doug Martin?
Yeah, exactly. Or Joe Mixon? Look, it's one of those situations where, yes, you're happy about the workload, but you have a quarterback situation that's up in the air, an offense that's struggled, and an offensive line that hasn't been able to open holes for him in 3 of his 5 games. He's had 2 monster games and 3 really bad games.
He should. This was lined up. The defensive matchup against the running back position was set up for him to have a big week, and he failed.
Well, the Texans are pretty great against running backs.
Yeah,
but
not fantasy-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I remembering that
I think
incorrectly?
you're remembering
I think
it
you
wrong.
might be remembering it exactly opposite.
Yeah. They're actually one of the best in the league, but we saw the week before that teams that had success, and with that many carries you expect it. All I'm saying is the quantity of carries doesn't.
I was remembering it backwards.
Yeah. It was set up for failure, and he failed. He did not beat those, Next week it's Jacksonville. I'm not excited. Then it's the Rams. Not excited. You've got Tennessee at home. Okay, maybe. Washington on the road. The Giants at home. Okay, maybe. You're playing. He's not a locked-in starter is my point. He's not a guaranteed performer. And so when I'm looking at my fantasy playoffs right now, I'm hoping I don't have to lean on him, but I will if I have Doug Martin or Buck Allen. So those are the answers for that today. Buck Allen, Adrian Peterson, Doug Martin, some concerns. We'll get into more of the weekly rewind, the studs, the duds on the show. Twitter, @TheFFBallers. You can follow us over there. Follow everything with the show. You can check out jointhefoot.com. Posted a little note there on the weekend thanking the Foot Clan for supporting everything we're doing with this independent podcast. And the website's thefantasyfootballers.com. Without further ado, let's get into the rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
You thought that was a little mean? That was a little mean what I did to Nathan Peterman?
Mike thought it was a little mean. He's a man with a big heart. I thought it was very funny.
Chris Thompson.
Look, you guys all saw me with much delight celebrating his each and every interception, but
that's because you had a fabulous Tyrod Taylor tweet you sent out that you kept retweeting your own tweet.
Sometimes you got to retweet the tweet, man. and I was so torn because I don't want Peterman to fail. You need the coaching staff to know that was a stupid decision, taking your winning team and blaming the quarterback for your defensive
failures. Who's been very good.
Yes.
Yeah, it was all about the validation for Tyrod Taylor because we've all believed in him as a competent to good NFL quarterback, and that is not what Peterman was. All right, Chris Thompson. Fractured fibula. He's going to need surgery, and his season is over. That means that's a displaced fibula. That's not even one of those quick 4 to 6 week things. He's going to need surgery, and that's a real big disappointment.
Yeah.
Rob Kelly already on IR. Chris Thompson, who's been so electric, now is out. And this has been a problem for him, health.
Time for the pain bot, Samaje P. Ryan.
Yes.
You might not want to use that nickname right now with Washington.
Sure. That's fair.
Considering the level of pain that every other running back's experiencing.
I'm going to use it later, though.
Kelvin Benjamin exited Week 11, some sort of knee injury. They did cart him off the field.
Yeah, it was very strange. And do we really don't have an update on that?
No,
Brooks, I haven't seen anything.
Not as of yet.
Brooks is shaking his head. He doesn't have anything new.
We do have an update.
Give him a call.
Yeah, why don't you call Kelvin? Just hit him up on the phone. But Deonta Foreman had his breakout game.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, on his long touchdown run after he got in the end zone, or as he got into the end zone, he tore his Achilles.
Believed to have. I don't know if that's confirmed.
I believe that is confirmed, but
It's not
maybe
good.
It's alleged. But he is done for the season.
Yeah, and now you have the Dolphins, Jay Cutler. Hey, for those out there in the Twitter sphere and the podcast listeners, if you joined me in the event that was streaming Jay Cutler yesterday, which I did, I streamed him in the Money League. The matchup was great. There was a bunch of options like Eli Manning, who looked like a fine streamer coming into the weekend, but then you had the weather situation escalate, and then you had Sterling Shepard go out. You're like, well, let's go with Jay Cutler. Yeah, so he was nice enough to throw 3 interceptions before leaving the game in concussion protocol.
Thank goodness he had a touchdown.
Yeah, so he kind of
that just washed it out.
Washed it out to give you a really nothing game. Then Matt Moore came in and lit it up.
And by lit it up, you mean threw to his best friend.
Yes.
As he always does.
Yeah. We'll talk about Kenny Stills and Matt Moore a little bit later.
Matt Moore actually screams, "I love you," every time he hurls the ball at Kenny Stills.
I love you! And whenever he throws to anyone else, he just says, "You're not Kenny!"
Not my first choice.
You're not Kenny.
Third read.
Robert Woods was spotted with a sling on his left arm following the game.
Not good.
Not good. He had a pretty good game too, but he got hurt towards the end of it, and we need to monitor his situation for this upcoming week. And then the Saints, they got beat up on defense this week. Yeah. Alex Okafor, 4.5 sacks for them, been a bit of a pass rush monster. He's out for the year, torn Achilles. And then Marshawn Lattimore, he re-entered the overtime win, but he exited after one snap, re-injured the ankle.
They need him.
They do. They need Lattimore. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, they're marching. Those Saints.
What an almost upset. I thought it was over. I thought that Washington had it in the bag.
Oh, we're still going.
Well, he's going to talk about it. I'm giving him background music.
What a game. What a game. And Kirk Cousins was balling out. All right. A number of players didn't play. Sterling Shepard had the migraines. That was a late scratch. Otherwise, any other late scratches? I mean, Darren McFadden didn't play.
The Darren McFadden one it's so strange.
It is what it is.
No,
He's old.
I get it. But I'm saying, why do you re-sign him in the offseason? Give him $1 million.
You re-sign him because
to not play.
You want the depth.
Yeah, it's just a depth
That's
move.
it.
Yeah.
The only other
Alfred Morris looked good.
Oh yeah, certainly. I'm just saying, why would you give a running back $1 million when, if for depth you don't want him to play? Then if you get in a depth situation, just go grab someone.
That's what
off
a veteran
the street.
like that's going to cost.
I also
you.
think, and I don't believe when they signed him that they knew it was just depth. I think they thought he could come in, and in camp he didn't win that job. Alfred Morris and Rod Smith kind of stepped up, so they ended up with $1 million depth piece. The only other inactives that I think are worth speaking about, Mike Gillislee, that's back-to-back weeks now. He was a healthy scratch.
We've moved on, Jason.
Sure, but
we've mourned. Who? We've accepted.
And Terrence West is worth noting because he was completely healthy, full practice participant all week long. So with Danny Woodhead active,
they do like Buck Allen.
There was a question of whether or not Terrence West would impact this running back core, and they're nope.
Mike McCoy has been fired as the offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos. The magic he once had with Peyton Manning, he could not replicate with Brock Osweiler.
That's
Gase,
so weird.
Adam Gase, he was really good offensive mind with
Peyton Manning.
That's the humorous part of any of these equations. I mean, Ken Wisenhunt.
I was going to say, I call
Kurt
it
Warner.
I call it Wisenhunting, is when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback and he earns you a lot of money. He makes you look really good. He also makes you start. He builds up this confidence that you're a better coach than you are. Yeah, maybe you don't focus.
And then you're like, hey, I can start Derek Anderson as my starting quarterback and win because I'm such a good coach.
Give me Jake Cutler.
I got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right. Well, implications of that change, though. Are we expecting – I mean, improvement would be nice from the Denver offense in any way, shape, or form. Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, C.J. Anderson, Devontae Booker. Those are players that would be impacted by the change. We just need to wait and see. We don't know if it'll be Paxton Lynch or Brock Osweiler. Osweiler's 0-3 as the quarterback. So we're going to get into the stud muffins. Before we do that, I want to thank Pristine Auction. Here are some of the auctions that completed yesterday and how much these fine pieces of sports memorabilia went for. An Amari Cooper signed Raiders Pro-Style jersey $73. A Jerry Rice signed 49ers career highlight stat jersey, $95. Evan Ingram. You want to get on that Evan Ingram train early? $57 for a signed jersey of Evan Ingram. They had a Christian McCaffrey jersey.
Oh.
$91.
Ooh.
That would have been a nice one to snag.
Yeah.
Lev Bell, signed photo, $60. So there are hundreds. I'm just reading you a couple. There are hundreds of daily auctions at Pristine Auction.
Including one today that is a Bo Jackson signed photo. It's a Tecmo Bowl. Touchdown Bo Jackson.
That's what I like.
It is glorious.
And it's Christmas. So if you want to give somebody something cool for Christmas that's unique, that's the neat thing about it.
Just back away from my Bo Jackson Tecmo
Just don't touch
photo.
Mike's Bo Jackson. PristineAuction.com. Let them know the Fantasy Footballer sent you when you sign up. It's free to sign up and to bid. PristineAuction.com, Pristine auction.com.
Yeah, the holidays are certainly here. Another great gift to get for men, because sometimes guys are the hardest to shop for. Harry's razors, which we have used for years. Andy and I go back 3 years now with Harry's razors, and they are extremely good blades. My wife will steal all of my razors because she's like, "These are better than the girl razors." That's the voice of my. That's exactly what she sounds like.
Yep.
But for the holidays, there is a perfect gift. Harry's, it's a good company. The guys over there, we really like the blades that they've made, the business they've put together. And this holiday, Harry's is offering a custom and limited edition shaving set. It makes for a perfect gift. Their sets come with German-engineered 5-blade cartridges in a really nice case. It's like, and they've got this chrome handle. It's all customizable. You go pick out exactly what you want, and there's a really good offer. And if you do it now, you can get free shipping. So this holiday, give Harry's and give Handsome. Get your holiday shopping done early. Take advantage of free shipping. To get a limited edition holiday shave set while supplies last, go to harrys.com/footballers right now. That's harrys.com/footballers.
Would you say they make you look like a stud muffin?
Oh, I love it.
This week's Fantasy Stud Muffins.
Before we get into the Stud Muffins, there was an article going around, one of these viral Facebook articles. I really needed to mention it for the listeners of the show, specifically Brooks. It talked about how when people put their Christmas trees up early, it actually brings joy. It makes people happier. It improves mood.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brooks, would you say that having your Christmas tree up, which I understand that your girlfriend put your Christmas tree up, is that right?
Oh.
Is that right?
Yes.
Did that help with your mood after watching what happened to Dak Prescott and your hometown Cowboys?
No.
No, it didn't? It didn't? No tinsel could wash away that pain?
No.
Okay. Sorry, Mike, your study has been
No,
your Facebook study has been debunked.
The study is still accurate. I can't speak for the doo-doo Cowboys.
The doo-doo Cowboys.
That's right.
By the way, one last piece of news. Greg Olson's practicing today.
Uh-oh.
So he's a must-add.
Pick him up.
Pick him up. All right, Stud Muffins this week. Big Ben. Hello.
Hey.
Thought about making him my Raising Cane's Rising Star today just because the offense was moving along. Looking good. Juju's legit. Antonio Brown.
Oh, hey, Antonio Brown.
How you doing? You're good. Kirk Cousins, Tom Brady. Blaine Gabbert.
The blonde bombshell.
22 for 34,
Ooh.
3 touchdowns for Gabbert. Drew Brees, nice day. 385 yards in the comeback affair. And then Andy Dalton. He got it done. Not a lot of yardage, but 3 touchdowns. Has Cleveland on the docket next week. So that's an interesting start. He'll be a streaming option. I may lay claim to him right now. But
do you think that Blaine Gabbert will start in the revenge game next week against Jacksonville?
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah, I do. I think
hope
so.
Not.
What do you mean you hope not?
Well, here's the deal. I think Blaine Gabbert is better than Drew Stanton.
Oh, you'd
so
rather
as
Stanton
a
fail?
Cardinals fan, I would rather have Blaine Gabbert as more of the future than Drew Stanton. And so, therefore, whoever the Cardinals quarterback is next week is going to fail against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If you want to peer into the souls of 3 Cardinal fans, you just heard them talk about Blaine Gabbert and part of the future. That's where we're at.
It's not a good place.
where
It's a dark, dark place.
Carson Wentz got it done last night. Man, some of the plays he makes
Yeah, they're pretty incredible.
They're pretty amazing. So, throwing the ball with guys draped around his legs, some of the jukes on these defensive ends to get himself the opportunity, stepping up in the pocket.
And
he didn't have the greatest accuracy night, but he still got it done.
Yeah, and this is including a first half, which was he really did nothing. I think he had 80 passing yards.
Yeah, he had 70 yards in the first drive, and then his next 11 passes, he only completed 1.
It was rough, but a memo to the Eagles staff and Coach Peterson. If you want to keep going for 2, I know this was a matter of circumstance that your kicker was hurt, but if you want to just keep going for 2, the fantasy community supports this.
They were 100% on
no,
their 2-point conversions?
One, they failed on one because I believe it was Ertz fumbled it.
Yes.
So, that's right. But that play should have been a touchdown.
Yes.
Should have been a 2-point conversion.
If he would have just had stronger hands. He was doing his best Jack Doyle, baby hands.
So Jake Elliott was concussed in this game, and they had no place kicker.
Right.
So it worked out for fantasy owners in that regard.
Shout out to the linebacker who still was place kicking, and he forced a touchback. I mean, that was incredible.
Speaking of shout-outs, I feel like we need to give a little bit more respect. I know it's Tom Brady, and we all just assume, well, Tom Brady's going to be great. But do you realize what he's doing at 39 years old? He's on pace for 5,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions.
Well, it's because all he eats is beans and caterpillars.
Is that that why?
Yeah.
So all I have to do is
the TB12.
beans and
caterpillars.
I mean, his deep ball looks
a little bit of fungus,
as good or maybe better
than
right
it ever
now.
has.
He's hitting Brandon Cooks on the long balls.
But to be fair, the Raiders make people look like that.
Well, I mean, sure, but the 5,000, 35, and 3 numbers that's the whole season,
and
right?
The 30 for 37. He just carves people up right now, and he's one of those players where when you project a big game from him, he delivers 9 times out of 10.
Right.
Whereas sometimes you see these games where you're like, okay, Alex Smith going against the Giants, this should be a home run. Even Alex Smith couldn't deliver this week. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Running backs, number 1 and number 2, Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. Hello.
My goodness, man.
You realize they only had a combined 19 carries between them, and they ended up the number 1, number 2 running back?
I don't know how you give Mark Ingram only 11 carries.
Well, that's what Andy's
when
saying.
You're down 18 points, the game plan changes, and Alvin Kamara's on the field for 3 straight drives. That's what happened. And so
don't worry, guys. I'll take the 11 carries and turn it into 130 yards.
That coach cannot go, we're down 18, but I'm going to just – Ingram's carry count's a little low right now. I got to get him out there. I mean, it's just coaching. And Ingram and Kamara are unbelievable. This week, in what you saw from Kamara and what you saw from a usage standpoint from Kareem Hunt, which, by the way, they've lost 4 out of 5 games now in Kansas City.
Right.
Maybe you should give Kareem Hunt the ball more often. But this was what we said. Sean Payton is why Alvin Kamara is great. And Alvin Kamara, even when he fumbles the ball, somehow that means he splits 4 Washington defenders for a touchdown.
Bobbles the pass catch,
I shared this crazy stat that both Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara were top 5 running backs. That was a couple weeks after Adrian Peterson left. Now, a new check-in, a new update. Okay, it's been a while. It was week 5. Since week 5, when Adrian Peterson left that team, in a half-point scoring, Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara are the number 1 and number 2 running backs for that entire stretch of time.
That has to have never happened before.
I don't have a study, seems
but
impossible.
Yeah.
You stay in those flames.
LaShawn McCoy, welcome back. 13 for 114 and 1. Just looked great. 1 for 12 and a touchdown on his only target. So that's a little strange when his target numbers have been where they're at. But this was the Nathan Peterman game. So if you're a LaShawn McCoy fan, you want Tyrod in there so this offense can move the ball.
Yes.
Latavius Murray, 15 for 95.
Latavius!
This was my start of the week. Just kidding. It was Jason's. It was Jason's start of the week. I just wanted to see his reaction. 15 for 95, 2 touchdowns. This offense is just plain working. I mean, Adam Thielen is having the second best start to a season of a Vikings wide receiver since Randy Moss. That's how good he is performing.
Yeah, Adam Thielen has been unbelievable.
And as far as Yeah, I mean, I love the Vikings offense, but as far as Latavius Murray, he was almost my rising star as well. I didn't do that because he was my start of the week, but he's got Detroit and Atlanta, as his next 2 games, and I mean, he has double-digit carries since Dalvin Cook went down. He is their primary ball carrier.
Yeah, and he is getting the goal line work right now. It wasn't like McKinnon wasn't out there. McKinnon was out there a ton in half-point per reception leagues. He was still right around the 10-point mark. However, Latavius is the touchdown guy right now, and he's looking good on the field. This Thunder and Lightning combo that they have is working. Samaje Perine, 23 carries, and it's probably not going to change. Mike, I know we're going to talk about him shortly. Deion Lewis, 10 for 60, 4 for 28, and a touchdown through the air. Absolutely looks like the best running back by a lot.
Yes. Looks like that 2015 Deion Lewis that was the number 7 running back.
Jordan Howard. There's 15 for 125 and a touchdown. That was your start of the week, Jay.
No, that was your start of the week.
Was that a humble brag over there?
I just was trading back and forth because I have to grab onto a couple of the good predictions this week because quite a few things went south. I mean, we talked about it. Lev Bell, okay, you could have gotten in the end zone. You didn't get the ball a lot, but this is the nice thing about Lev Bell.
It's the 9 receptions.
Yeah, 9 receptions, 57
over 100
yards.
Combined yards
In a quote-unquote bad game.
Yeah.
Lamar Miller, 22 carries. He had a touchdown through the air, and he's going to be all alone in that backfield.
Yeah, with Deontay Foreman likely out for the season, Lamar Miller is just the volume will continue to be there. Unfortunately, he gets Baltimore next week. Not very excited about that. But then Titans and San Francisco. So, I mean, you got a couple good matchups coming up.
Talk to me about Orleans Darkwa.
I would love to.
Man.
Darkwa Duck did it again. Nah, it's good. It's a good one. Look, Darkwa has been good, and we railed against the New York Giants' rushing offense, their ability, their offensive line in the offseason, and it seemed to be true at the beginning of the year, but it's just not the case.
Little did we know it was just Paul Perkins.
It was just Paul Perkins.
Paul Perkins.
Yeah,
I'll never forgive you, Paul Perkins.
Rest in
for
peace,
taking
Smash
Jackson away from us.
Smush Jackson was
Smushed.
Smushed Jackson is the new name for Paul Perkins. Orleans Darkwa has been over 70 rushing yards each of the last 3 games. He had a touchdown in this one. I think he is a guy that you can put out there as a RB2, RB3 week in, week out, and if he's got a great matchup, he should be a must start.
You like to see the workload, the confidence that they seem to have in him. And
20 carries.
Yeah, there's Gallman's getting worked in, but it's Darkwa's backfield right now. Then Alex Collins had 20 carries. Ended up with a touchdown late in the game, but 20 carries. It seems like it's Alex Collins and Danny Woodhead.
I would love that.
Agreed.
Antonio Brown, we talked about him. Let's talk about some stud muffins at the wide receiver position.
Holy crap, Keenan Allen.
There he is.
Hello. I mean, look, Foot Clan, if you follow this show, you know that my deep burning love for Keenan Allen. I think he is a sensational wide receiver. But I had just last week I was finally allowing and coming to terms with, okay, well, maybe we're not going to see that target monster that we've come to know and love from Keenan Allen. We're this far into the season. And then 12 for 159 and 12
13
targets.
Yeah, I was going to say 12 receptions on 13 targets. He caught everything coming his way.
You could argue that he only had a half to do it.
Right.
Sure. I mean,
Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, Keenan Allen, they were all out early.
Chargers, please.
Thanks, Nathan Peterman.
Look at what happened when you fed the beast. Keenan Allen came through for you in a huge way. Let's keep this going. Dallas, Cleveland,
Washington, Kansas City, New York,
maybe, but Dallas and Cleveland for sure. This will be a big test next week to see if we can get them sustained at that 10 target mark.
Well, if you're one of the teams that have a bye though, and you get Kansas City, New York for your final 2 games, the Jets, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I would too.
Kenny Stills, 7 for 180 and a touchdown.
Matt Moore comes in the game. Where's Kenny?
With love. He smooches the ball, and then he throws it.
They have a connection.
Yes, they do. 7 for 180 and a touchdown?
Decent. Decent. Brandon Cooks, Danny Amendola, both scored. Both looked great. Brandon Cooks looked exceptional in this game. And Tom Brady, he's finding his receivers. That's just what he does. Adam Thielen, we talked about him, 6 for 123 and a touchdown.
For all people who – so if you've joined the Sunday morning Periscope, I still get some questions from time to time about Adam Thielen. If Adam Thielen is in the question,
it's Adam Thielen.
Hooked on a Thielen. If Adam Thielen's in your question, the answer
is Adam
Thielen. The guy is dominating.
He's a wide receiver 1.
Yes.
He's going away.
He's not just a wide receiver 1. He's a top-level wide receiver 1.
He's always open. And
yes.
then he always catches the ball.
You had there was the play where Case Keenum is being dragged to the ground, and he throws up. I mean, this is a Jameis Winston ball where
don't do it.
You should not have done that. But who just appears wide open? Oh, hey, it's Adam Thielen in his shiny yellow gloves.
I love those yellow gloves.
I do too.
Larry Fitzgerald, Devontae Adams, Marvin Jones, and Jarvis Landry had nice weeks.
Yeah, thanks, Marvin Jones.
I regretfully sat DeAndre Hopkins in one of my leagues, despite him being the number 1 wide receiver because of the Patrick Peterson matchup. Thought it was the right call.
Oh, it looked great for an entire half.
1 catch in the first half, but ended up 4 for 76 and a touchdown. He is matchup proof. And he'll have a tough matchup next week. He has Baltimore.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have my concerns.
Demaryius Thomas, AJ Green, they started poorly, finished well. Got it done this week. Robert Woods had a nice 8 for 81, but he's banged up. And Michael Thomas, 6 for 91, and, of course, no touchdowns. And Mike Wallace
He
scored.
don't need no touchdowns.
He doesn't. He's so reliable. He's Mr. Reliable. Anybody in that batch you want to talk about before we get into tight ends and then the rising stars?
No, if you haven't seen the Mike Wallace touchdown catch, it is a monster one-handed beast grab. Hopefully Robert Woods with the sling, we talked about that. Hopefully he is okay because he has emerged as a fantasy force. And I think if you take him out of the lineup, I think that's a really big hit for King Goffrey.
And you'd much rather play Devontae Adams the rest of the season versus Jordy Nelson.
Jordy Nelson was in consideration for that quick question of which dud are you concerned about.
We'll actually be talking about Devontae Adams here in a moment.
We have plenty of data now. I mean, weeks of Jordy Nelson just doing nothing. Are you guys with me that Jordy, you can drop him at this point?
Oh gosh, in a redraft,
you have to. It's insane. That the answer is absolutely.
They are not the same team. I said it this weekend. I was glad they were wearing those weird blue and yellow
the
throwbacks because they're not the same Packer team. I mean, they might as well wear those rest of season and pretend they're a collegiate franchise because everything that you knew about the Packers in every way, shape, and form changed when Aaron Rodgers went down.
Just grab a boat, put it on a lake, and set it ablaze. Have the Viking funeral, and then drop.
Push Jordy out to sea.
Yes.
If you're doing all of that, don't you light that thing on fire before pushing it out? I want the bow and arrow.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just making sure.
That is what a Viking funeral is.
All right, okay.
Well, I'm gonna first. Okay, so you're gonna need to get a bow and arrow, and you're gonna need to practice probably for like 5 weeks. Do nothing but
don't
practice.
worry, Jordy will still be bad.
Super embarrassing when you don't hit it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna want a lot of arrows.
What is that like? I mean, like if
because eventually it drifts so far that it's no longer possible.
If you go back in history and you miss, and everyone's staring at you.
Just like, all right, try number 2. Oh no,
Southwest. You remember those "Want to Get Away" commercials?
Oh yeah,
there you go. Southwest, genius idea. That one's on the house. I know you're listening.
Hey
Mr.
guys,
Southwest.
let's talk about Ricky Seals-Jones.
Did we not get a seal drop?
Did we not get a seal drop? He says.
Even if we
he fails.
If we had one, you did not give the soundboard time.
Not even close. Ricky Seals-Jones. If you are hearing that name and saying what, who, where, huh?
So are we.
Tight end for the Arizona Cardinals. Backup to the backup to the backup. 3 for 54 and
he's
two,
your number 1
touchdowns.
tight end this week.
Oh my gosh.
Got the double touchdown. That's nothing like a seal, right?
We'll just.
I'll go that seal.
Oh, I had no idea where you were going, but you went "Kiss from a Rose."
Yeah, that's easier.
So Ricky Seals.
I think
Jones.
Brooks just left. I think Brooks just got up and left.
Abandoned.
He's afraid of
ship.
seals.
Wow.
Still.
Brooks, you're afraid of seals? That's an interesting.
Travis Kelce, O.J. Howard, Delaney Walker, Adam Shaheen.
Yeah.
Adam Shaheen's interesting because he's young, he's talented, and he's now alone.
The only tight end in town.
Well,
and they scored some
'cause
points.
Deion Sims has missed the past couple weeks with illness. So while I like Shaheen's future, I still believe that he will lose playing time once Sims is actually healthy again.
All right, we got to move on.
Raising Cane's Rising Stars of the Week.
All right, Raising Cane's Rising Stars this week. Who do you got, Mike?
I'm going to kick it off with the man, all he knows is pain. The Samaje Perine, the pain bot, 23 for 117, and he looked really good.
It's the first time he's looked really good.
He
running the ball between the
looked
tackles.
really good, and this is the team that just shut down LaShawn McCoy and the New Orleans Saints, the Super Bowl bound Saints. But Samaje Perine, and with the unfortunate injury to Chris Thompson, they will have to lean on Perine. It's Perine or bust for this backfield right now. And I loved the prospect coming out of college. The Washington offensive line is finally healthy again. I think that Perine is going to be a sensational pickup.
Yeah.
if you grabbed him last week.
I think that Washington offensive line getting healthy matters a ton. I mean,
of course, yeah.
Even when it was Rob Kelly, you saw the difference between when they finally were intact and they weren't. This is the Samaje we were talking about during the draft season. Your favorite, lower tier running back during the draft season was Samaje Perine, and now we're finally seeing it come to fruition. So I like him a lot. My rising star is a little scary because he's on that aforementioned Viking Funeral Packers.
No, he's the archer.
Right. Well, he's good because he's going to hit that boat. He's going to light it on fire. It's Davante Adams. Davante Adams at this point, I had several leagues. I have several leagues where I have Davante Adams, and I have sat him pretty much week after week. Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where it's really hard to bank on, a quarterback that stinks. But the truth is, Davante Adams has been his number one target. Last week, he led the team in targets. He led the team in receptions. He led the team in yardage. This week, he led the team in targets. He led the team in receptions. He led the team in yardage. He was 8 for 126. He had a touchdown the week before, which is his second touchdown from Lindley. I think Davante Adams is
Hundley.
Hundley.
Did you go Ryan Lindley?
Yeah, I did. Davante Adams is a safe wide receiver right now because he is pretty much, you've got a one-read quarterback, and he's the read.
All right.
And I know you get Pittsburgh next week, which isn't the best.
Right.
But this was Baltimore this last week, which is arguably a better passing defense.
We talked about it earlier, guys.
The bromance.
Life is a journey best traveled with friends. And Kenny Stills and Matt Moore, if they're matched up with one another again this week,
They're star-crossed.
they are partners in crime. I'm telling you,
They're hand in hand.
Kenny Stills is my rising star, all on the basis of Matt Moore getting the start next week. If Jay Cutler sits it out, Kenny Stills and Matt Moore, they have a connection. And that's good enough for fantasy football glory. And even in the game where Matt Moore started and was pretty bad.
Really bad.
Really, really terrible.
Yes,
It didn't matter. Kenny still had a nice baseline in that game. And if they hit on one of the, 4 deep shots they'll try, then all of a sudden Kenny Stills has a monster day. So at this point, Kenny Stills is a locked and loaded starter if Matt Moore is behind center.
I imagine Kenny Stills just behind the computer. Once Jay Cutler was healthy and played, he jumped on that Craigslist that missed connections section. He's like, there was a quarterback who would bomb it out to me. Where did you go?
They have matching tattoos. That's what I understand. So Samaje Perine, Kenny Stills, Davante Adams, those are the Raising Cane's rising stars of the week. Remember that game day tastes better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a whole lot better. With Raising Cane's tailgates full of fresh 24-hour marinated hand-battered chicken fingers and fresh brewed sweet tea, visit RaisingCanes.com, and you'll find your nearest location. All right, let's move on.
Pooped in his big boy pants.
There are some worthwhile poopers.
We've buried the lead on this show because while Nathan Peterman has been, he opened the show and will help shut us down, Dak Prescott to me is the far and away biggest
poop of the year,
poopiest. Yeah, he's the poop of the year.
You need to talk about this, Jason, because you were watching play-by-play. You were reacting play-by-play with this Dak Prescott game.
He was, he's one of my three my guys this year, which I've been proud of until the last 2 weeks. And with Tyron Smith out, with Ezekiel Elliott gone, this is a game where I think everybody knew, not just us, not just other analysts, you at home, everyone knew that Dak Prescott in a tough matchup in division against the Eagles was going to need to step up. He was going to need to show that he is an MVP caliber talent, that he is, a star quarterback already, and, the future's still in the making. And he disappointed in every possible way. I don't think he dealt with the protection well. I don't think he made the adjustments needed. He certainly didn't make the throws that were needed.
His throws were, so many screens, just wide receiver screens where he's dumping it into the ground. The wide receiver he would grab it, but he's putting him in a bad position to catch and run, and so the screen would just be over before it started.
Not really taking the deep shots. Everything was I don't know. It was extreme. I felt like I said this to you guys last night when we were talking. I felt like a disappointed father. Like my son, who I have raised, just really screwed up. He made a big mistake.
Did you have a talk with him?
I had to sit him down and say, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Oh.
And then I left and I shut the door.
Oh,
I left
the door
him sitting
was
on
shut?
the bed and I shut the door so he could think about it. I didn't go back. I went to bed.
Yeah.
So, I'm, look, if Tyron Smith is out there, Dak is still great. But he is not able to deal with pressure right now, and that's something we haven't really been able to test.
Same with
the
Derek
first
Carr
2
this
years.
year, by the way.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, we didn't have to see that last year. He was almost never hit last year. Their offensive line isn't quite as good in Oakland, and now Derek Carr doesn't look like quite the same quarterback.
The Bushes have relayed a message
spoke to you
that we believe Tyron Smith. Me and the Bushes believe.
Just you two.
We believe that Smith will be back for the Thanksgiving.
Is that enough,
turkey
though,
fest.
if his confidence has been shaken a little bit without
Yes.
Zeke on the field?
I think
it is
Smith-
enough. I really do.
Yes, I do too.
He's going to have Joey Bosa to deal with regardless of Smith. So.
It's fair, but just the confidence boost that a Hulk of a man is coming to protect
If
you.
you played Dak Prescott, you probably lost this week.
Yeah.
That's what it equated to. This wasn't a kind of bad performance. This was a full-on – this is a extra large-size diaper full. This was a bad week. Alex Smith, 27 for 40 for 230
It's really the
and
lack
two
of
picks.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot the interceptions. Yeah.
No
it's the lack of
touchdowns.
touchdowns.
Yeah, accuracy is fine, whatever. That's Alex Smith. But didn't get it done in a matchup that everyone expected. It was a letdown game.
And people are asking questions, about Smith, about Hunt. Buffalo, the Jets, Oakland, those are the next three matchups for Alex Smith. I'll gladly
Take your
accept
chances.
those. Yeah.
And also keep in mind, if you weren't aware, the weather in that game was pretty brutal, the wind. So there was a couple deep balls Alex Smith threw where you go, what happened? And it looked to my eyes that that was wind. Wind knocked it off about 3 yards. And if you're throwing the ball 3 yards off where you're trying to target, there's going to be a defender there.
That's one of those things, too, that we brought up on the show a lot last week, and we have an article that comes out every week with weather conditions right up to game day, so you can kind of have an understanding of how that might impact things because we're in November. This is the time of year where you're going to have some of these situations where it's cold, somewhere it's windy, somewhere it's snowy, also known as the three nightmares of Leonard Fournette. So
Yeah, but he handled it.
Jared Goff, we told you to pump the brakes on him. He's a matchup play still, even though he had 2 big weeks. Played Minnesota in Minnesota, didn't throw a touchdown, and their team got handily defeated. So, again, you need to kind of pay attention to the matchups.
All right?
Yeah.
He gets New Orleans at home.
I'm not excited about it.
I think you're going to see Goff probably as a top 12 quarterback, but not up there in the top 5.
Yeah, I agree.
Eli Manning, guys. He was my start in stream this week, but I did not know until late that Sterling Shepard with migraines was going to be out of this game. Ended up 19 for 35. He only passed the ball one time to Evan Ingram. So if you think about that, no Sterling Shepard, one pass to Evan Ingram. Then you're talking about, can Eli Manning put up a fantasy day with Roger Lewis? And the answer was no. Jay Cutler, Blake Bortles, Nathan Peterman, those were the other massive poopers. I don't think Peterman had big boy pants, and he's not getting them now. He might have had them on order, but that order was canceled.
Yes, it certainly was.
We've talked about Doug Martin, but let's talk about some other running backs that let you down. Isaiah Crowell took that nice run of ascension and pooped all over it, 11 for 18 against Jacksonville. Kenyon Drake, we talked about him. Peterson. What do you do? Joe Mixon had the most career touches that he's ever had. I think he had 24 touches. I think he out-touched Gio Bernard 22-4, 24-4, and yet 20 for 49 because I think it's one part mix and one part O-line.
Yeah,
it's a lot O-line.
I would also argue that there's one part Denver. I mean, Denver has been a great rushing defense this year, and when you combine a good, not good, but a great rushing defense with a crappy offensive line,
right?
I mean, it's very difficult to have success. So I'm happy to see him with 20 carries. That bodes well going forward when you go, okay, Cleveland, they've been pretty good against the run, but they're not Denver. That's their next week matchup.
Then now, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Minnesota. Those are three.
It doesn't
gauntlets.
Get great. It doesn't get great for. It's not like you can go, okay, well, the schedule really opens up.
Right.
You're going to get Indianapolis, and no, you've got some tough matchups the rest of the way, and I don't think this offensive line will allow Joe Mixon to be efficient with his running pretty much rest of the season.
Jerick McKinnon, he was okay, but he was 14 for 48, 5 for 12 through the air. He did not have any kind of burst plays that have helped him out and didn't score. DeMarco Murray, he had the bad game against Pittsburgh. He does have Indianapolis next week.
That's nice.
There you go.
That's a get-right game.
Yep.
Rex Burkhead
committed the ultimate sin.
Yeah.
Playing and being a part of the Patriots?
Fumbling.
No, it's fumbling.
With Papa Belichick.
Yeah, he fumbled. He did get back in there, and I mean 6 targets for
I was
Rex.
going to say the only thing that Rex Burkhead did was creep in on James White's passing role.
Well, he didn't creep. I mean, he full on snatched and grabbed and got out of there.
A burglar in the night.
Yes, he burgled because James White had 1 target. I mean, it's
Deion Lewis right now.
Yep, Deion Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like last week I was confident in Rex Burkhead. If he hadn't fumbled, who knows? But he did, so this is where we are, and good luck.
We had a lot of expectations for Golden Tate this week.
Oh, Golden Tate.
And he was 3 for 32. Stephon Diggs, 4 for 32. Devontae Parker, 4 for 26. Who are you most concerned about out of that bunch?
Look, Devontae Parker, we joke around here that Devontae Parker doesn't get started until the 4th quarter because that's pretty much all year. That's when that's when they're used. He's kind of been a garbage time player, and this was setting up well, except Matt Moore came in. And Matt Moore's love affair is not Devontae Parker, it's Kenny Stills. So if Matt Moore is the quarterback next week, I worry for Devontae Parker's value versus if Jay Cutler is there. I'm not worried about Stefon Diggs at all.
Okay.
I'm not worried about Golden Tate. So
even with Minnesota, Baltimore, the next 2 on the schedule for Tate?
Correct.
Okay. That's good to know because I think people will see those matchups. They'll be intimidated. Obviously, Tate moves around the field. Sammy Watkins, 3 for 36 on 4 targets. This has been the up and down of Sammy Watkins, more down than up. But if Robert Woods is out, Sammy Watkins suddenly looks pretty startable against New Orleans next week.
Certainly.
Okay, let's talk tight ends. Evan Ingram let you down. Gronkowski let you down. Zach Ertz let you down.
What? Those are like the 3 best tight ends this year.
Yeah, the only stud tight end, Travis Kelce.
Oh, okay.
No,
Seals Jones, man.
Please stop. But Kelce had the great matchup. He came through. But, man, that's devastating. Ingram, Gronk, and Ertz.
And then Cameron Brate, 3rd straight week with 1
on.
catch. And I want to know if you stay in the opposite of the Flames with Brate at this point.
Stay in the ice?
Stay in the ice.
With Winston out, you got to stay in the ice. And then but there's rumors once again. Me and the Bushes have been speaking a lot this week.
Yeah, spending way too much time in there.
Well, I'm a botanist.
No, you're not. All right, continue.
But they there's talk of Jameis actually playing this upcoming weekend, and if that happens,
I read a report.
He's not going to play.
I
this
read a
weekend.
report this morning that said he is
Week or
expected
two
to
more.
miss a week or two more.
One more, okay.
Yeah.
So I think those Bushes are poison ivy. You're going to want to check that out after the show. I was just going to say that, Travis Kelce, one of the only stud tight ends that performed well, but we still have Jimmy Graham as a stud tight end left to see.
You excited about the game tonight? Falcons, Seahawks? Seahawks have lost Cam Chancellor. They've lost Richard Sherman. This is not going to be the same Seahawks D rest of the season. They had already been they'd been good but not elite.
That's fair.
Yeah, not like what we saw 2 or 3 years ago, and now you lose 2 of your biggest pieces. You will get
Earl
Thomas back on the field tonight. What do you expect to happen? Who do you expect to win this game tonight in Seattle?
Seattle. I'm going to go with the home. They're
take
so
Atlanta.
hard to beat in Seattle.
I'm going to take Atlanta.
I'm going to take Atlanta too.
Well,
all right. We'll leave you out there, Jason, with your hometown, Seattle Seahawks.
Don't you do that.
That is it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. Again, the Megalodon.
Megalodon. Also, not
Wednesday.
only the Megalodon, but make sure you keep on the lookout for our annual Turkey Day Awards by the Borgogan out there. Kyle.
So that's a writer.
Borgogan.
We have a writer.
He lives in the Upside Down.
And he is he's bringing the Turkey Day Awards to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. There are 10 days left. Not there is 10 days left.
Nice, you did it.
There are 10 days left to win a signed T.Y. Hilton jersey, a signed Devontae Adams jersey, and a custom engraved championship ring from fantasychamps.com. To enter, it is free. You just go to footclangiveaway.com. Footclangiveaway.com. And 10 days left, like I said, to win one of those goodies, autographed jerseys or an engraved ring, which is pretty cool.
The case is engraved.
Correct. The ring is displayed in the case. The case is engraved with your name and a fantasy football championship and the year.
And it glory.
It is great to brag with.
It is great.
All right. Thanks for listening to the show. Check out draft.com/ballers to participate in some Thanksgiving DFS with us, and we'll catch you tomorrow, Tuesday, on Waiver Show.
Good luck, Foot Clan. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.